happened. That was Dr. Rick Bright. He's the whistleblower who was ousted as the head of a federal agency working on vaccine development. He testified today before the House about the administration's lack of action in the coronavirus fight. Joining me now is the head of that committee, Congresswoman Anna Eshoo. She's a Democrat of California. She chairs the Energy and Commerce Subcommittee on Health. And Congresswoman, obviously we had seen reporting about Dr. Bright, and he had written a letter. What did you learn today that you didn't know? What came out of this hearing? What's your big takeaway?
The big takeaway to me, and I think to the rest of the committee, was this was the right person at the right time with the full knowledge of what was coming. And he was not only ignored when he rang every bell right up to the top in HHS. He was not only ignored, he was fired.
There also is a concern about the future, and I want to talk about that in a second. But first, the response. There's some reporting today that's remarkable about the president. The president at times has come just shy of saying he didn't want to test people because testing would create positive cases, which would make him look bad, so it would be better if we don't know. And this is reporting from the Financial Times today that said that Jared Kushner had been arguing that testing too many people or ordering too many ventilators would spook the markets, and so we just shouldn't do it, says a Trump confidant who speaks to the president frequently. That advice worked far more powerfully on him than what the scientists were saying. He thinks they always exaggerate. What do you make of that?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's extraordinarily sad, Chris. I think that the administration, the president, has been singularly focused on his numbers. And what has happened is that the numbers in our country of our population have been diminished. Over 80,000 souls lost. So if Dr. Bright had been heeded, there would have been a big difference. And that's enormously sad, enormously sad. Here is he's a brilliant scientist, someone that really for his entire adult life prepared for this moment to address a pandemic. And as I said, he was ignored. So there are so many sidebar things that some members tried to raise with him. But he recalls everything, the date, the time, the place, the science, the science, the science. And I think it is a classic case of when you don't pay heed to scientists, because science is so foundational. And so the administration has gone another way. We don't have a master plan. It seems as if the administration, their plan is no plan. And yet Dr. Bright said in order to avoid a dark 2020 winter and the rest of the window that is still open, what we need to do.
So on that note, there's two things that stuck out to me from his testimony. One is about the vaccine. So this is his area of expertise. This is what he does. It's what he did at BARDA in the government, vaccine development. His cautions about the timeline and safety, and also the idea that even if we were to get one, if we have a plan in place to ramp up production and capacity to distribute it. What did you make of that part of his testimony?
Well, I think it was enlightening to anyone that was listening in, because, number one, vaccines are very difficult to develop, and then they have to be effective. But the development of them is difficult. It does take time. And I think it's instructive to all of us that we still don't have a vaccine to cure HIV/AIDS. We've made tremendous progress on the pharmaceutical drugs, but we still don't have a cure for it. So that is down the road. Scientists, both inside the government and in the private sector, are working 24/7 to come up with interim applications. So this is not an easy thing to do. But having said that, if the American people have a plan put in front of them that makes sense, they know what's expected of them, we follow that. When the time comes And God willing, and I mean it, God willing, we have a vaccine. We have to be prepared for a vast distribution of it. That takes vials, that takes syringes, it takes many other products as well. And so we have to have that capacity. And God only knows whether any of that is taking place, that kind of planning inside the administration.
One would hope, but I would not bet on it. Congresswoman Anna Eshoo, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Chris.